Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. I hope all of you are doing good. And I want to start off with a big shout out to all the veterans. Happy Veterans Day. It'll be Veterans Day in just a couple hours. I really appreciate all of you who served your country, and shout out to all the veterans, especially all of you who still hold that oath that you took near and dear to your heart. You guys are America, and shout out to all the veterans. Really appreciate you guys. Except for Tim Kennedy and all the Fudd veterans. I don't really care for Fudd veterans, but for all of you that are still honoring your oath and believe the Second Amendment means shall not be infringed, you guys are awesome. And then more specifically, for all the Marines out there, happy Marine Corps birthday, 1775. You guys are going to be 250 years old pretty quick here. I don't know if a lot of you guys knew that or not, but the United States Marine Corps has been in existence. Not continuously. It was disbanded twice, from what I understand, but originally founded and started before the United States of America was a country. So that's kind of crazy if you think about it. So shout out to all the Marines out there. And in a little bit here, I'm going to share kind of a cool story from really three, but even particularly one special Marine and how it ties into this bump stock memorandum. Now, I did a video talking briefly about this, because it's a 9-page decision, and this sets aside, this vacates and grants a stay on the bump stock rule, not bump stock rule, brace rule, and soon to be bump stock rule in its entirety. You know, I just had a Freudian slip, but look, it was pistol braces first. It was bump stocks. It was, man, I'm really, really hoping, guys, they've just vacated or set aside on a nationwide level the pistol braces. I think bump stocks will be coming next. Frames and receivers, it's a little more complicated with that, but the frames and receivers rule, the important parts of it, to say the least, were set aside. We have now for one of the two triggers, there's so many of these it's hard to keep track of, but I believe it's the rare breed trigger. Okay, that rule has been put on hold. It's all to do with the Chevron deference, but this has been a good week overall, and we should celebrate the victories when we get them, and this pistol brace rule was a huge victory, and it was actually brought forth by 3 Marines, and one of the Marines came into my comments and left a comment, and I went through and kept reading the finer details of this brief, and man, oh man, I'm going to get to him and the other 2 Marines in just a second. I kind of wanted to wait for the Marine Corps birthday to give those particular guys a shout out. Now, it just happens to be Veterans Day, and Tim Kennedy, I guess, was a veteran, but now he's active duty again, from what I understand. But hey, I just found out about this week. And there's this new AI software out there. AI software that's going to almost add like another type of NICS check. It's not a substitute for NICS. It's not with the government, but this is a private corporation that Tim Kennedy's the poster boy for. And I'm just going to call a spade a spade. This is some super, super Fudd stuff. It's super scary. And it's basically a private company trying to do an end around of the courts, where the court said the government couldn't do this. And now they're wanting to do it. They're wanting to use artificial intelligence to decide whether a local gun shop owner that would purportedly use this software, or theoretically use this software system that they're trying to sell, or whatever you want to call it, and just adds in like thought crime and pre-crime. And basically, if you remember, New York was wanting everybody's social media accounts so they can look on their social media and see if you're able to buy a gun. Well, it was decided in several jurisdictions by the courts that, yeah, that's not constitutional. Now, first of all, hey, we'll take the victories when we can get them with this pistol brace decision. This right here, memorandum of opinion and order that we just announced on this channel, preliminary injunction the other day. That's good, but eventually we needed to get to the points where the courts read the Constitution once and for all, and they read the parts that say shall not be infringed, and that means what it says and says what it means. But until then, we've had courts strike down different things that were blatantly on their face unconstitutional. And now we're finding a company that wants to do this. And this is like kind of really, really creepy. Now, I get it, guys. Tim Kennedy was in the Army, is in the Army again. If you look at his whole biography and history, I'm not an expert. Don't care to be an expert. I don't really look up to people like him at all. But he was in the Army. He was in the Army Rangers. He was Special Forces. He was airborne. And then I guess he left and then came back. And now he's in the Green Berets. He's also been an MMA fighter in the past. And I think he's even done some stuff with movies. So for whatever reason, this guy's famous. He's supposed to hold lots of gravity within the community. Supposedly, a lot of people look up to him. And if you guys look up to him, I guess, but I don't. So I'm going to get into that in just 1 second here. And I don't like to see this because it's like really, really shady stuff. And we see so much right now where private corporations are doing the bidding of the government. I mean, look at YouTube, look at Google, look at Facebook, look at all these places, right? Where everybody's at. Where the government can't, Congress can't pass a law, right, that would censor your speech. However, big private corporations that we're finding out more and more and more, look at the Twitter files, that got buried under the rug, but it's literally been brought forth as public knowledge. I don't think it's common knowledge, but it's publicly available knowledge that often the federal government will get in with these big companies and say, we want this person censored, we want that censored. All kinds of weird different algorithms were coming into play around election seasons and just so many things. We could talk about that for days. But it's like literally to the point where you look at like an oligarchy and like fascism, where huge, too big to fail, propped up by the government, supported by the government corporations, do the bidding of the government. So therefore, well, technically it doesn't violate your First Amendment guaranteed rights. See, that just protects the government from infringing. Private corporations, well, they're allowed to do this. They're allowed to do that. And I already know I'm going to get this in the comments, and that's fine. I knew before I even started this conversation, there's a lot of people that will say they're conservatives and like guns and, you know, generally vote Republican, whatever that type of crowd is. They love to have this thing where they say, but that's capitalism. See, it's capitalism. A private business can do whatever the heck it wants. Well, okay-ish to a point. I agree with you. And I'd certainly rather have capitalism, like the actual literal definition of it, I think is great. And I prefer it over communism every single day of the week that ends in the letter Y. However, in so many instances now, and I don't know about this company that Tim Kennedy's propping up exactly, but it reminds me of all of this, where we have what's called crony capitalism, where there's an unholy alliance between the government and some of these super large corporations. And you watch how these people who work for the federal government, they serve their country in the government, then they go right over to these big companies with really high positions. And then when they're in government, they're making rules or passing laws or getting riders, getting little like pork barrel stuff, throwing it on these omnibus bills to scratch the back of some big company that has a bunch of government contracts. And then as soon as they leave, they go into the private sector and just happen to work for one of these big companies, their own stock in it. I mean, look at Nikki Haley and the way her portfolio and her wealth has drastically increased. We think about things like Boeing, and we could go on and on and on. You look at Dick Cheney, you think of places like Halliburton. You literally go back to the 1960s. Now, this isn't when it starts, but Ike, right? Ike, 5-star general, the general. He would have had access to more information than any of us probably ever will. Well, then he became president. So this was somebody who was at the highest possible ranks in the military. And then he went on to be the commander-in-chief and president of the United States. If anyone would know, I think it's fair to say he would have known. And Dwight D. Eisenhower warned us in his farewell fireside address. Fireside addresses were a thing back then. And before he did his last one, when it was the sunset of his presidency, he warned us of the military-industrial complex. And there's a lot of there. A lot of people that are in government, then they're out of government, then they're back in government, then they're out of government again. And I'm not making these accusations of this exact Fudd company called Double Check. Double Check Protect is their site. But I'm going to go over this in just a minute. And when I do, I'm going to share this website. You guys can decide for yourselves. But I just know on its face, yeah, it just makes my stomach turn. And it just instantly gives me that type of thing. Now, a lot of people are saying this is one of our own. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, he's not one of our own if I'm included in it, because I'm not part of this. I've never been part of this. And for anyone that I know in real life, for the most part, not everybody actually, I have to take that back, but almost all veterans that I know in real life think a lot like me. But I have met veterans before. I'm not going to say any names, but somebody that I know from around town, let's just say. She was a nurse, and I believe attained the rank of major, if I'm not mistaken. Field grade type officer, like a high rank. And she's told me right to my face several times, many times, and said, well, if you don't have military service, if you didn't qualify on a military rifle range, you have no business owning a weapon of war. And it's people like her that are really, really frustrating. And look, as a lifelong civilian, it frustrates the crap out of me and all of my veteran friends that believe shall not be infringed, says what it says, and means what it means. Look, I'm not going to speak for all of you veterans, obviously. You guys are people and we all agree and disagree. That's fine. But any veteran I know that's on the side of liberty is even more mad at people like that serve the country and say, well, now I'm in a different class. Now I'm in a higher class where certain people should be allowed to exercise their right to keep and bear arms, but other people shouldn't. And it's definitely not all, but I've seen this more than once. I've seen this more than twice where, and I don't know why it's this way. Maybe if some of you guys were in special forces, you could explain it to me. Maybe if you weren't, you could explain it to me. I don't know actually why, but I've seen it. There tends to be a higher propensity that when someone is special forces, it seems like a lot of times when they do come out publicly, there can be a lot of FUD in them. Have you guys noticed that? I've seen Joe Rogan he hangs out with a lot of high-speed, low-drag guys, former and current special forces people, and I've heard of a lot of them talk about their machine guns and all of their stuff that they do, and then they'll kind of say, well, but should a regular civilian have these? Say the United States is supposed to have equal justice under the law. Lady Justice is the symbol for that. It's a blindfolded woman holding a set of scales and a sword, meaning justice is supposed to be completely and utterly blind. Not mattering if you served in the armed services or you didn't, or if when you did serve, if you made your way up to Lance Corporal or Private First Class or Sergeant or Command Sergeant Major, or maybe you're a lieutenant, first lieutenant. Look, that stuff really, really matters in the military a lot. And shout out to all of you guys that worked hard for your ranks that served. But when it comes to whether things should be legal for one person and not for the other, this is just not the United States of America. And this same military officer even went a little bit further and said, well, if they were only a mere enlisted man, then it might be a little bit of a gray area. But certainly anyone that was an officer, yeah. An officer in the military should be able to own whatever firearm they want. They said for enlisted men it was a gray area, and like maybe like if they were a sergeant, she said. It got pretty sketchy when we were having this little debate. But she said a lifelong civilian, heck no. All you need is a shotgun. All you need is a deer hunting rifle. You don't need anything semi-automatic. I'm like, that's interesting. Very, very interesting. And I don't know where people get their ways about them like that, but some of them do. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone and all the many generous ways you guys help support the channel. Thank you to all the channel members, those of you who support on Patreon, and also on Locals. Make sure you guys are a member of my Locals community, where I do an extra live stream every week where I can touch guns live, which we just can't do here. And I post awesome deals over there literally every single day. And I'm actually going to show you something cool here that I can show on YouTube. And you'll have to check out my Locals listing if you guys want to see that. Also, I was reading the chat ahead of time, and we were talking about different companies that have gone woke, right? Look, guys, you guys remember Kyle Rittenhouse, right? I actually met Kyle Rittenhouse, and I opened up for him on stage at a Second Amendment rally in Michigan and talked to him backstage. And I don't want to say we're best friends, but got to talk to the guy and know the guy a little bit. And I always looked up to Kyle for what he did. Now, I know I just got thumbs downs for doing that, so make sure you guys don't forget to give the thumbs up button. But look, I can't apologize for who I am on here. I'm just being myself. But yeah, I'm a fan of Kyle Rittenhouse and always have been. And then there was this high-speed, low-drag, tactical Coolio operator class coffee company. You remember them? They were called Black Rifle Coffee Company. Yep. And when Kyle was wearing one of their shirts, he came out and said, disavow, disavow. We don't stand for Kyle. We have nothing to do with it. And actually put him down quite a bit. I didn't care for that too much. And that's up to you guys what kind of coffee you like. But there's a link down in the description for Blackout Coffee. And they are absolutely not woke. And if you use code 2AEDU20 or 2AEDU, I'm sorry, it's just 2AEDU. It's down in the description. You can save 20% off, which is like a super, super huge discount. Using that code does help the channel a little bit. A lot of you guys like Jared from Guns and Gadgets. It also helps him out a little bit because he is a part owner in that company. So that makes it a win-win. And they did not disavow Kyle when he was advertising for them, quite frankly. And yeah, not a fan. Now, look, I think if you guys the same way, literally, I understand why my friend QD and QD just gifted 20 channel memberships. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. That's awesome, man. John Crump came in with a bunch of 2AEDU emojis. John Crump News. Thanks for being a channel member, Crump. Chris Plummer just come in. He's my longest channel member, guys, literally right here with some 2AEDU exclusive emojis. And thank you, Chris. And thank you, QD, for those memberships. But no, for some reason, I'm thinking about Tim Kennedy here. Boy, I'm probably going to take some heat for this, guys. So remember, don't forget that thumbs up button. I'm literally ripping on Black Rifle Coffee Company, and I'm ripping on Tim Kennedy all at once. And they're both a heck of a lot more famous than me. But it's just bringing the dogfight out in me tonight. I'm sick and tired of all these Fudds, and I'm sick and tired of all these milk toast. I don't give a crap if someone fought MMA, if they fought in the ring. In one sense, great, you served your country overseas, but I don't care about that anymore when you're coming over here acting like a Fudd with my natural right to keep and bear arms. And I am getting a little bit spicy tonight because I just had to sit up all night long until 3 in the morning the other night watching this tyrannical government I live under in Michigan. We're going to go over that in a little bit. Passing gun control literally in the middle of the night. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this is all one big party. This is one big party known as the United States Military Industrial Complex, and lots of money to go around. Lots of good-looking girls, lots of cool tattoos, lots of awesome guns, lots of people with lots of special forces mystique. Oh, yeah. The Dutch East India Trading Company, the Military Industrial Complex, did it ever change, or did it just change names? I don't know. Go look back at history. But it's one big party a lot of these people are having. Here's the problem, though. There's like literally 100 million gun owners just like me and just like you, and we're not invited. We're the ones that are out there landscaping. I was doing leaf cleanups today. It helps the channel a little bit if you guys use my coupon code to buy some coffee, but I don't have a coffee deal. I don't get paid for that. I don't get sponsored for that. You guys are the ones that barely keep this channel going, and I'm out there just working my butt off, thinking how much of it am I going to have to give to the IRS? How much of it am I giving to all these backroom deals? The United States makes so many missiles, we don't even know what to do with them. We give them to all these other countries, making more unrest in the world, making us less safe, tearing down our own fences on our own border. We're literally being invaded. You know who the military veteran heroes are to me? People like my friend Mateo, who's my moderator in here, but he's also my good friend who served in the United States Marine Corps, and he hasn't been out there being a Fudd. He's not a Fudd at all. And he's not famous. He's a plumber. My friend Jane Locke, who I just got done hanging out with this last weekend and who has gone and walked the halls of Lansing with me. She's a Vietnam vet. Now, I don't worship these people. I don't worship any person on this whole earth. But to me, I don't look up to these military heroes that go out there and use their Bronze Star as a way to get notoriety and fame. And I have a lot of respect for somebody who earns a Bronze Star, but then they do this kind of crap. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about tonight. Let me share my screen here. And if you can't tell, this stuff gets on my nerves a little bit. Don't forget also, speaking of the, dude, what's even America anymore? We have fences that we're literally tearing down to let all these foreign invaders in, right? And then the largest ammo conglomerate just got sold to the Czechoslovak group. I did a video about that just a little bit over a month ago. How many palms got greased for that? And here's the crazy part. There's like tons and tons of awesome blue-collar people working at those big factories that they have. And they're good people. And I've gotten a lot of messages from people that are like, dude, I work for one of the Vista Group companies. Dude, shout out. You're just working for a living just like I am to feed your family. But when you get to the higher-ups, it's a little more interesting. That whole Lake City thing, you guys can think what you want, but in my mind, and it's going to be hard to convince me otherwise, they did stop selling to civilians. And then they got caught with their pants down yet again, which they've gotten caught several times, and then went back and made that Facebook post that made it look like, but if you truly read what they said, I don't think so. And we're going to talk about ammo in just a few minutes, but the ammo situation, the shortage, whatever, it's kind of just staying right where it's at. Prices are still up 30, 40% of what they were a month ago. Here's the deal, guys. It's basically like this. I'm not bringing this up because it's Veterans Day tomorrow. I'm bringing it up because I just found out about it this week. And it also just happens to be Veterans Day tomorrow. But it almost gets me a little more annoyed. This is their poster boy. This is called Double Check. And all of this is my opinion, okay, about this company. If you guys want to do business with them, go for it, I guess, because I'm not a tyrant and I'm not going to tell people what they can and can't do. But it says, double check, protect life and liberty. And it starts off saying how it works. Double check is easily accessed online or at a retailer's point of sale, delivering results in minutes. Exclusive access to the outcomes and their underlying justification. Ooh. And their underlying justification is granted solely to the customer. The retailer's access is restricted to the approval status, which does not include any of the customer's private information. We're going to get to this in a minute, but they're burying their own lead. Like, I'm literally right on their homepage, and they don't even tell you what they do. Talk about burying your own lead. If you're proud of your product, Tim Kennedy, just put it out there, man. Put it out there front and center. But you have to, like, snake your way through this, okay, just to even find out what it is. But I'll tell you what it is. It's a piece of software that they want gun shops to use. And it's going to search things like your past history of social media and many other things about you. And artificial intelligence or an algorithm is going to put together whether this software or this AI thinks that you're worthy of being able to buy a gun. Now, this is not the NICS check. And they make it very clear, as I'm going to show you in a minute, that you could pass a NICS check But this software could still decline you. And this could be the recommendation for the FFL holder to decline the sale. And that's interesting. And it's starting to make me question that whole thing too. But I'll get to that in just a little bit. Results quickly populate, enabling customers to seamlessly proceed with their purchase upon receipt of a favorable green approval. Should a customer not receive the green approval, they can immediately see why, and if necessary, can dispute the result through the app. This is to buy a firearm in a country where the supreme law of the land says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people, that's people just like me and you, right? The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And this is a company that's advocating for this. Now, apparently they haven't launched yet because it says sign up for early customer access. We will contact you to join our beta launch. Beta's about it. Oh boy. Bunch of beta males running this, if you ask me. Our mission, to deter mass shootings and preventable loss of life by gun violence. I don't want gun violence. I don't want any violence. I'm a completely peaceful person. And I've bought guns many, many times. And I'll post whatever spicy crap I want on social media. That's me. Focus. Proactively focus on identifying individuals with concerning behavior, see, and criminal intent. Concerning behavior. Oh, geez, what could go wrong with that? With artificial intelligence? With algorithms? I mean, this is like the Fahrenheit book. Okay? Look up Bradbury. I mean, to protect. Oh, boy. Don't worry. The scariest word someone can hear is I'm from the government and I'm here to help. The second scariest is I'm from Double Check and I'm here to help. Protect American lives with improved screening at the point of purchase for firearms. Look, you guys know this, right? Like the Brady bill, okay? And all of this that requires the NICS and the instant background checks, that only affects the law-abiding because criminals, by their very nature, don't follow laws, right? And good people generally don't need laws because good people don't go shoot up a school, obviously. Like, I've never thought about that. Have you? So think about who this is truly affecting. But here's the kicker. Even when they do catch people lying on NICS checks, they literally like prosecute statistically none of them. Like a couple here and there. But it's literally like a couple. It's statistically none. And when they bust people that have illegal guns and all that, go back to that Michigan State tragedy in Michigan, where the person had been busted with a firearm charge. A liberal prosecutor let them right off the hook. Didn't do anything to them. And then they walked past, imagine that, a gun-free sign. And then they committed an atrocity. A very, very evil person did evil things. And they happened to use a gun. The gun didn't do anything wrong. Guns aren't good nor evil. A good person with a gun protects good, innocent life. A bad person with a gun does terrible, sinful, ravaging, menacing things. But they also do it with hands and feet and with rocks and cans of gas. And look at the school tragedy in Bath, Michigan, with the bomb that happened many, many years ago. But here we are, and I was up till 3 a.m. having to watchdog with all of you watching the Michigan legislature, the Democrat-controlled legislature, at the behest of Gretchen Whitmer. She's a real beauty, isn't she? The governor of Michigan. In my opinion, you should just give her the speaker's gavel, because I can't tell much of a difference, to be honest. The Democrat-controlled Michigan House of Representatives cramming gun control through. Midnight, 1 a.m, I hold my beer. 2 a.m, now 3 a.m. Immediate effects granted. You guys remember that? And they say that's just the start. Because somebody did a tragedy with a gun that the government knew about. He literally got caught previously committing a, quote, gun crime. Now, I'm not saying it should be a crime to carry a firearm without a CPL. That's not even what I'm trying to say. But if these laws worked, then how come when someone had just gotten busted with that law, essentially nothing happens to them? As the old saying goes, let off. So with that said, you guys really think that criminals are going to care about this? I don't think so. But it can sure mess you up trying to buy a gun. So like they're saying, protect Americans' lives. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what the Democrats in Lansing, Michigan, and on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. are saying every day, too. And unfortunately, some Republicans in Michigan, too. But there's a lot of good ones in Lansing. My state representative, Jamie Thompson, God bless her, texting her at 11 at night saying, when's the House bills 4147 or 4127 and 4128 coming up? She's like, probably tomorrow. And she was right. It was tomorrow because they adjourned session. They came in at 12:01 a.m. and they did pass the House tomorrow, even though she was tired at 11 p.m., she told me, and still had to sit there and deal with that crap. I'm telling you guys, if you live in Michigan and you have any decent constitutional loving rep or senator, get behind them. Give them some support. They're in a dogfight right now. They're getting trounced just like all of you. And when they come home from Lansing, they have to deal with these same tyrannical laws as all of you. So if there's bad ones, we need to call them out. And the majority of them are bad. And I hate to say it. Well, literally, the majority is bad. Look at all of the gun control they're passing. And the next step for this double check is to advocate. Advocate for gun owners nationwide by supporting their constitutional rights. Well, first of all, whoever wrote this mission, you have no clue what the heck you're even talking about. These are not constitutional rights. The Constitution doesn't grant any rights. And in fact, we have no Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Wait, somebody just hissed and booed? Hold on, let me explain. That's a good thing, actually. That's what's so awesome about this republic, if we can keep it. No, you don't get your rights from the Constitution. You don't get your rights by government. You get your rights from God. All men are created equal, and they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, is what Thomas Jefferson wrote, July 4th, 1776. And these are the laws of nature and of nature's God, it says in that same document. Now, the Second Amendment doesn't give you the right to keep and bear arms, because if a government gave you rights, they'd be able to take them away. It simply acknowledges, first of all, it acknowledges a pre-existing natural right that preceded the United States of America. And the right will actually always exist. You're always allowed to take up arms and to protect yourself. If you look at animals in the wild, they protect themselves with their fangs and with their claws. It's just how nature works. These are the laws of nature and of nature's God. It's natural and normal for people to want to protect their families. And it's natural and normal to want to protect your country. The Second Amendment is so beautiful because it doesn't just say what, it says why. And we're still debating this darn thing. There should be no debate. It literally tells you why. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. That's why, right? That's why. The right of the people to keep and bear arms, it's both, shall not be infringed. It doesn't say we give you the right to keep and bear arms. It doesn't say on this day of 1789, that's when the Bill of Rights was written, wasn't ratified till 1791. But it does not say on this sacred day of 1789, I, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, Ben Franklin, James Madison, John Hancock. There were many good ones. If we had some of those in power right now, we'd be a lot better off. But it doesn't say hereby, therefore ordain to you these rights granted by the Constitution. It doesn't say anything even close to that. It just says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It acknowledges you have the right, and it tells the government, hands off. Don't tread on me. That's literally what the whole Bill of Rights is all about. And that's what it's always been all about. Whether you were taught that in school or otherwise. So it kind of gets in my craw when people say, by supporting their constitutional rights, constitutionally protected rights, sure, great. But don't leave that word out because that makes it a lot different, doesn't it? Let's go on. Case studies. It says shooter case studies and industry case studies. And are these the same thing or not? Let's see here. No, they're different. Shooter case studies. Double Check has developed a cutting edge AI technology. See, you have to keep reading this before they admit to you what this really is. Has developed a cutting edge AI technology that can flag harmful intent and troubling criminal history before a potential shooter purchases a weapon. Double Check offers a concurrent screening process that runs alongside the existing point of sale system. So this is something they would, I guess, sell. I don't think they're giving it away for free, but I don't really see a price either. So I'm assuming they would sell this to your local gun shop. My local gun shop gets this, I'm never shopping there again. Period. That runs alongside the existing point of sale system. It provides additional information that the federal process may miss, as a National Instant Criminal Background Check System, NICS, without adding any time or friction at the register. Excuse me. Excuse me, sir, but you passed your NICS check. Yep. You've got your CPL, which having a CPL has nothing to do with being able to buy a gun. I'm just saying that proves I've had even more background checks. Only reason I bring it up. But this double check just gave us a yellow. Excuse me? Yeah, you called out the Republican Speaker of the House. Well, yeah, because he voted for gun control. But I praised Representative Bob Bazat, right? And I praised Representative Jamie Thompson and Jamie Green and Alicia St. Germain and Representative Jamie Green. Well, it doesn't matter. Well, look, I get behind the good ones, but I call out the bad. Yeah, but you do realize you called out leadership publicly on your social media. That's going to be a yellow. I don't want to hurt the dude. I just want to call him out so maybe he can correct his ways or someone can primary him. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Now, I've never threatened anybody on social media. I'm not going to, but who knows what this means? And that's not going to cause friction at the register? Excuse me, sir, but you can't purchase that gun because this app said you got a yellow or red or something. Excuse me? So it can read my mind? Yeah, that's what AI does. I'm going to have some choice words for the person there. By examining felony arrests versus convictions across all jurisdictions, Double Check ensures a more comprehensive and accurate understanding of an individual's criminal history. Hold on a minute. You guys do know there's countless times, maybe it's happened to some of you, where you get arrested for something and then they uncuff you and let you go almost immediately. Oh, it was the wrong guy. Or, well, the way we got the phone call was a lot different after we did a little bit of an investigation. An arrest is infinitely different than a conviction. That goes back to that blindfolded lady holding a sword and a set of scales. You have the natural right to due process. And due process of law is explained very thoroughly within the Bill of Rights while we're talking about that. So they're wanting to combine arrest records. Look, my friend constitutional attorney Catherine Henry was arrested, okay, after a long fought court battle. It shouldn't have been that long. She ended up getting acquitted of the charges. But according to them, they would use my friend's arrest record, but then she was acquitted, so found innocent, not guilty, is how that actually works. Found not guilty in the court of law. They're like, that's not good enough. We want to use arrest records. That's scary, man. Double Check ensures a more comprehensive and accurate understanding of an individual's criminal history. These case studies show shooters who pass the NICS check, enabling them to purchase weapons to commit their horrendous crimes. Double Check would have identified criminal history preventing weapons purchase. Look, some of these guys have passed NICS checks. Some of them hadn't. Some of them were on literally FBI watch lists and supposedly had surveillance details assigned to them. And in some cases, people were watching them from across the parking lot even, and they were still allowed or physically able to commit these horrendous acts. So what I found is the more of this type of stuff we have, the more it seems like this stuff becomes prolific, not less. Like, we have more of a nanny state now than we did back when there were less of these types of incidents, right? Industry case studies. Double Check has developed a cutting-edge AI technology that can flag harmful intent and troubling criminal history before a potential shooter purchases a weapon. Intent? It's going to flag your intent? Excuse me? Wow. Like, I'll give you an example. I had no intent. I did not intend to get anybody butthurt tonight by calling out Tim Kennedy or Black Rifle Coffee Company. I didn't intend to. I guarantee you, like, maybe one person probably got butthurt tonight. So, well, he intended to hurt my feelings because that Kyle Rittenhouse, he should have never been there. He shouldn't have done what he did. And I like to, as they're drinking another cup of it, cool, you do you. My intent wasn't to offend anybody, but I offended somebody. So now we're going to talk about intent, right? Can flag harmful intent and troubling criminal history before a potential shooter purchases a weapon. Look, they might have some good intentions with this in their mind. I question whether they have good intentions or not, but even if they do have good intentions with this, they're pretty far off base. It provides additional information that the federal process may miss on the National Instant Criminal Background Check system. Hold on a minute. This passed through Congress because they said this thing was perfect. If they just passed this and they just put in the NICS system, we'd never have anything again. Just like they're saying, oh, if we ban guns within so many feet of all these polling locations, ballot drop boxes for many people. I'll get into the Michigan laws and the amendment, the substitute rather, that was passed in the middle of the night. We just passed this. We just have to pass one more, and it's all going to end. Yeah. Until a Republican fairly wins another election, then they'll say, oh, no, it must have been because some guy somewhere had an AR-15 somewhere. Yeah. They said NICS was perfect. It was going to fix all of our problems. But now these guys are saying, well, not actually, though. We need an extra level. Without adding any more time or friction at the register. Why do they keep saying that? That's just a weird wording. Any friction at the register. Why would there be friction at the register? I walk into my local gun shop and either buy the gun, get my background check, buy the gun, leave, or pay the transfer fee after my background check clears and leave. I don't know why there'd be friction. Why are they so worried about friction? You guys know what I'm saying? Double Check acknowledges the impact of weapons in the wrong hands. Yeah, I acknowledge that too, obviously, and that's a serious topic. But criminals don't follow laws and don't really give a crap about your app, though. With all due respect, you think a criminal that's hell-bent to do something egregious cares about your app? I don't think so. In the wrong hands has on manufacturers and retailers, with an emphasis on giving retailers the tools for better decision-making at point of sales. Below are just a few on the instances highlighting the financial impact on the gun industry. Okay. Dick's Sporting Goods. Oh, geez. Just as I was accusing them of being Fudds, they bring up Dick's. Wow. I can't even make this up. Let me come back over here and look at the chat. What are you guys saying in the chat right now? You look, you can't even make this up. We literally just, they're going to bring Dick's into this? Oh, jeez, oh, Pete. I'm going to enjoy reading this chat on replay. When I'm over here looking at the screen, I can't see the chat, but I'm going to come over and hang out with you guys in just a minute. Oh, boy, I didn't know this was going to turn into, at least there's a little comic relief here. Dick's Sporting Goods. For those of you that don't know anything about Dick's Sporting Goods, they ended up being Dick's. Yeah. To all the firearm purchasers. Remington settled a lawsuit. They should have never settled that. Ruger, multiple lawsuits. Okay. Daniel Defense, he came out super Fudd after Uvalde. So there you go. There's some examples that they're using of large settlements. Okay. Ambassadors. Here we go. Here he is. Here he is himself. He's a real beauty, by the way. Look at this guy. Ambassadors of Double Check. Tim Kennedy. He was on Rogan bragging about this the other day. So, hey, man, you brought it out into the public. Not that he watches this. I'm just saying. He might watch the channel. Somebody said Tim Kennedy was a fan of this channel. I wonder if he gave me a thumbs down. Make sure you guys give me a thumbs up. I think Tim Kennedy just gave it a thumbs down. Tim Kennedy is an active Special Forces Master Sergeant and sniper with combat deployments throughout the Middle East as part of the most elite counterterrorism and hostage rescue team within the United States Army Green Berets. So there you go. According to their biography, he's literally the most elite that there is. So top shelf. He is a former professional mixed martial arts fighter and two-time challenger. I don't think he ever won the title, though, did he? Having fought for the largest organizations in the world, to include the UFC, Strikeforce, and the WEC, he holds numerous black belts, including Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and U.S. Army combatives. Kennedy is a serial entrepreneur. In my opinion, he's a serial Fudd. Kennedy is a serial entrepreneur. Like, that just sounds weird. Like, who writes this about themselves? Or who wrote this? Is that Megalomaniac? He's a serial entrepreneur, a New York Times bestseller, and the co-founder of the NGO Save Our Allies. Kennedy donates his time and talent to try to set up an AI app to block you from buying guns. No, let's see here. He donates his time and his talent to protecting and preserving human life through his companies and his continued service. So this is their number one poster boy. Right here. Not even very handsome at that. Not very well dressed is what I'm trying to say. You'd think if he was a serial entrepreneur, like, you guys have seen me in Lansing before when I dress up with my suit. He doesn't even dress very well. I mean, look at me, how I'm dressed right now. Obviously, he has no fashion sense either. Jody Weiss. All right, let's see who this fed boy is. Hold on a minute. Jody Weiss served in the FBI for 23 years. Jeez, oh, Pete. What a coincidence. Now, I don't know how this place is funded or where they get their contracts, but look at this guy. And tell me you don't just look the look in his eye. Like, I look at his eye, and it's like, everybody right now, make sure your dogs are okay. You know what I'm saying? Look at this one here. Make sure your dogs are okay. I don't know why I got on this weird, totally unrelated rant about the military-industrial complex earlier. Do you guys? Total coincidence. I'm sure it has nothing to do with... Well, let's just keep reading. Jody Weiss served in the FBI for 23 years, holding every position from special agent to deputy assistant director. Oh, imagine that. Let's see here. They go in the government. They advocate, these companies and these groups, special interests, advocate for gun control. Then they wind up with another company. Again, total coincidence. I don't know why I would think that when I'm reading this. To deputy assistant director. This is top brass in the FBI. As a member of the FBI's senior executive service. You guys have dogs at home, right? Make sure they're in good order, because if those, just look at him right now, his face, just that. Shout out to all the dogs that this man may or may not have encountered in his life. He served, as a member of the FBI's senior executive service, Weiss served as the special agent in charge of both the Los Angeles and Philadelphia field offices, as well as working on as a deputy assistant director in both the Human Resources Division and the Office of Professional Responsibility. So you know this guy has your best interests at heart after reading all of this. He also performed the ancillary duties of SWAT, Special Agent Bomb Technician, and Firearms Instructor. Following a rash of controversial incidents, Mayor Daley appointed Weiss as the 54th Superintendent of Chicago. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute here. Superintendent of Chicago Police Department. This guy was put in charge. Wait, let me get this right. By Mayor Daley. This is the place they still call Chirac, right? And a lot of Iraqi veterans have come back and said, dude, like, when they say Chirac, yeah, it's like even a lot more dangerous than most parts of Iraq. Like, so this guy was put in charge, was the police superintendent for 3 years. And he has a plan to keep guns out of the hands of criminals? Guys, you can't make this up. I wish I could make this up. I wish I was embellishing. But when I saw that Dick's Sporting Good logo, I almost lost it. Like, just like laughing so hard I couldn't even see straight. Now I'm seeing this. Okay, so this thought crime AI software that combs through your arrest record, even if you were later found not guilty, and then combs through your social media. This guy's qualification is he was the superintendent of Chicago police. He drove cultural change and implemented policies that resulted in the lowest homicide totals in 45 years. Oh, so only like 10 people every night instead of 11? Like, reduced lawsuits against the police officers by nearly 50% and formed scores of new relationships with both community and law enforcement partners. So here's your other ambassador. Here. Looks like an excellent role model. I'm thinking about buying a gun shop now just so I can get this software. What do you guys think? And there you go. You guys were waiting for the Blue Falcon, weren't you? We're going to get to him in just 1 second here. You guys were waiting for the Blue Falcon. We're going to get to him in 2 seconds. I'm going to catch up on the chat a little bit. Like, could you guys just tell? Like, look at that dude. Like, look at his eyes. I don't even own dogs, but I just started, like, cringing, thinking, like, dude, I got a lot of friends in here with dogs right now, and, like, even having this guy's software near your dog could be a risky proposition, in my opinion. I mean, wow. You just can't make up the look on a guy's face every once in a while. Do you agree? QD with the super chat. Thanks, QD. I appreciate it, man. He says, the irony of BRCC and Kyle's tool of choice for defending himself from pesos, LOL. Yeah, using a Black Rifle. Yeah, the Black Rifle Coffee Company that when somebody actually defended themselves with a Black Rifle, acquitted, by the way, acquitted in the court of law, whether people like it or not, Kyle's innocent, lawfully defended himself. Wow. Thanks for that super chat, man. I appreciate it. Denny's plant-based journey coming in, member for 32 months. Says, keep ripping on the Fudds. Well, I've kept going with it, so. Greg Lobus became a YouTube channel member. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. And for all of you that just became members tonight, make sure you check out the extra member content, because I do have some behind-the-scenes videos as well as posts. Dale Cunha coming in, member for 30 months. He says, happy birthday, Marines. Yes, happy birthday, Marines, and you've been a member a long time, dude. Thank you. Rudy Finney just came in with a huge super chat with no message, so thank you, Rudy. I appreciate the support. I don't know if you had a message to go along with it, but it might be a little bit hard. I'm trying to search real quick here. I think he was just helping support the channel. So thanks so much, Rudy. I appreciate you, dude. You've been a long-time supporter, man, and it all helps. Patrick Fellers with a super chat. Thanks, Patrick. In the world we live in, FBI and ATF are not to be trusted. Funny how Fox Mulder was absolutely correct back in the 90s. Look, guys, I ain't bashing every last person, but geez, oh, Pete's, man. Like, my default is if I hear of an FBI agent or an ATF, it's tough, guys. It is. If there's good ones watching, hey, blame your boss and stuff. But both of those organizations, they've just lost my trust. And I think they've lost many people's trust at this point, especially top brass, right? All right. Hopefully I'm still alive for this next live stream. Jeez, oh, Pete. What did they say? They said one of these guys is a sniper. All right. Here's the general. Here's the general. Oh, this hurts me, man. I hate this crap. But it is what it is. Let's see what the general has to say. This is General Craig R. McKinley, USAF, retired. What's that saying you've taught me, Mateo? I don't know if Mateo's still in the chat. Blue Falcon. Anyone else ever heard that saying? That's what he says sometimes, is Blue Falcon. Well, let's read this guy. Maybe this is the good guy here. He might be a good guy. I hope he is, actually. It does say he's a Methodist. Hold on. Let's go through here real quick. General Craig R. McKinley, USAF, retired, was elected chairman of the ANSER Board of Directors in 2020. Oh, geez, oh, Pete, man. We couldn't get one sentence through. I have no idea. I just had this weird predilection to talk about the military-industrial complex. Why does this guy's bio have to start with he was elected the chairman of some type of board of directors? All right, let me keep reading. I'm still trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. All right. He's the chairman of the ANSER Board of Directors. He completed his tenure as the National Chair of Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve on November 14th, 2019. I don't know what that means. Wait a minute. What's this? Hold on a minute. Military Industrial Complex. Did you guys hear Vivek? Oh, gosh. When he talked about Dick Cheney wearing 3-inch heels, and then he said there's 2 of them on this stage. I think there might be 3 more of them on this website. This is literally Dick Cheney wearing heels. Wait, hold on. You guys that saw that lesser than debate, I didn't even watch the debate. I just saw I just saw some people's hot takes of that. That was funny when Vivek Ramaswamy said that. Wow. I'm not even a fan of him. I don't think he has a chance, but that was radical when he said that. I got to call a spade a spade. I liked that one. Hey, hold on a minute. General McKinley retired as the president and CEO of the National Defense Industrial Association. Guys, I don't even have any tinfoil in this shop. I'm like, oh, geez. For some reason, this reminds me of the military-industrial complex. This guy was literally CEO of a defense contractor that has industrial in its name. The National Defense Industrial Association on January 30th, 2017. McKinley came to the NDIA from the Air Force Association, AFA, where he had served as president since October 1st, 2012. After 38 years in the Air Force, McKinley retired as a 4-star general. That's the second highest it gets. And we haven't had a 5-star in a long, long time. So for modern day purposes, that is as high as it gets. 4-star general in November 2012. His last assignment was as the chief military industrial complex. Oh, never mind. Freudian slips tonight. I'm having a hard time reading. His last assignment was as the chief of the National Guard Bureau, where he also served as a member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Oh, wait a minute now. So this guy was a member of the Joint Chiefs. You all know what that means, right? You can't get any higher than Joint Chiefs. If I don't stream, guys, tomorrow night on Locals, I wish no harm against myself. Okay, I'll just say that. If I'm not here next Friday, I'm ready to flip a coin whether I'll even be here next Friday. I should watch who I'm ripping on here. Jeez, oh, Pete. Okay, so he was Joint Chiefs of Staff, but after he was Joint Chiefs of Staff, he was part of the National Defense Industrial Association, CEO of it. In this capacity, he was a military advisor to the president. Well, yeah, the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Council, and was the Department of Defense's official chamber of communication to the governors and to the state adjutants general. Okay, adjutants general. All on matters pertaining to the National Guard. McKinley received his commission in 1974 as a distinguished graduate of the ROTC program at Southern Methodist University. Okay, that doesn't mean he's a Methodist. I just saw that. He has served in numerous assignments in flying and operations, as well as command positions at group, wing, sector, and field operating agency levels. This guy also is part of their ambassadors and wants you to have to go through thought crime. Yeah, Ray Bradbury level stuff. Wow. I must be nuts ripping on these people. Oh, well. They don't have the Second Amendment in mind. I'm not a fan of any of them. And this is just all in my opinion. If anyone's a fan, they can be a fan. Is anybody a fan? Let me ask this. Is anybody out in the chat hoping that next time you go to buy a gun in the next year or two, whenever, if ever, are you guys hoping this software is there? Oh, please let me get the green light. Please let me get the green light. Was I seriously just sitting here ripping on someone that was a former Joint Chiefs of Staff and the CEO of the National Military Industrial Complex? Wow. I wonder if this general took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic. Do you guys think he did? What about this guy, Jody? Do you think Jody, put your dogs away. Jody's looking at you again. It's just a look he's got, guys. You have to admit. Did he take any oaths of office? I mean, I know like the local policeman has to take an oath, and I know some good cops around here that are just as ticked off about all this gun control in Michigan as you are. I know those guys have to take an oath. Did Jody? What about Tim Kennedy? If you're Special Forces and MMA, I can't say champ, but losing to the champ MMA fighter, did Tim Kennedy have to take an oath, or is that like optional? Maybe he didn't have to take one because he was like Special Forces enough? I don't know. Tell me, guys. There's lots of I wonder if these guys took oaths or not. It's hard for me to believe they did, wanting to put this system into your local gun shop. I mean, what do you think, DLD? What's happening, DLD After Dark? Trust me, if all of a sudden I just fall over here during this live stream, I have no pre-existing health conditions. The neighbors are not lighting any fireworks off. So if you guys hear, don't think, oh, it must have just been fireworks. And maybe he just wasn't feeling good. No, I'm feeling good. I'm very happy. Like literally nobody's lighting off fireworks near here. Okay, Anne Marie says not a fan. All right. I mean, look, I ain't trying to get anyone to badmouth anyone. I'm not badmouthing anybody either. I mean, I did call Tim Kennedy a Fudd tonight, but, you know, that's just my opinion and the best descriptive word I can think of him. I could call him a lot worse if I wasn't being nice, but I'm actually being pretty nice. Do you guys think I'm being nice? I mean, look what they're trying to do here. I think I'm being like super, super nice. To a militia, 4-star Cherry General. Did this general have to take an oath, do you think? FAQs. All right. I'm going to get through this real quick, and then we're going to move on to some more exciting topics. Because there's some cool Marines here I want to talk about in just a minute. I like these guys. I seriously like almost everybody that served. It's just when it comes to people like this, it's like, geez, oh, Pete. Ugh. I just feel dirty. Like I need to go There's like this big, my lakefront property. You guys ever seen that video here? He's a big timer. He's on YouTube, right? It rained a lot the night before last. My lakefront property here is back with lots of mud along the edges. I just feel like rolling around in that mud to like clean myself off a bit after like just like reading the descriptions of these people. Ugh. I even ripped on the Dutch East India Trading Company tonight. QD, we're still friends, right? Are you still gonna QD, do you still want to be my security if I head back down south again? He's like, dude, you just literally ripped on a 4-star general that was the CEO of Military Industrial Complex Inc., right? You literally can't even make this stuff up. Was part of the Joint Chiefs. And I tied all of it in with the Dutch East India Trading Company. If tomorrow never comes and I'm not on my live stream next Friday, it was sure good to know all of you. And I truly mean that. Frequently asked questions. What is Double Check and what is its mission? Double Check is an innovative with the mission to reduce mass shootings. And look, I want to reduce any type of shootings like that too, of course, obviously. In the United States, our primary focus is on proactively identifying individuals with concerning behavior concerning to an AI bot to prevent them from obtaining firearms at the point of purchase. By doing so, we aim to support we aim to support gun owners while removing the ability for the potential mass shooters and individuals with malicious intent to acquire firearms, ultimately preventing tragic events. Look, if that's their goal, like, they might mean well, but here's the problem. You cannot legislate morality. You've never been able to legislate morality. You never will be. I mean, you literally go back to the 10 Commandments and you were commanded not to murder somebody. You've been any civilization that's ever had laws, it's always been against the law to murder. Not justified homicide, not taking a life to protect a good life. That's not what we mean here. That's always been illegal everywhere, and anyone that's just a decent person that has any kind of moral compass, religious and even not religious, knows that that's just wrong. But you can't legislate morality because it's already illegal to murder, and if the law stopped them, then we wouldn't have any more. Artificial intelligence. We have artificial intelligence all over the place. If artificial intelligence could stop this stuff, we probably wouldn't have any problems either. And it's not supposed to be that, we have to infringe upon 100,000 people's rights to make sure one person doesn't slip through the cracks. No, if you look at Franklin, who really, really looked up to the Blackstone principles of justice. Blackstone was pre-United States, a Brit, and, well, quite frankly, Benjamin Franklin was a Brit too, until he became an American. Did they say, well, it's better that we cage up 100 innocent people to make sure we got the one bad guy? No. In fact, it was the opposite. One said 10 and then the other extrapolated it to 100. It'd be better to let 9 guilty people go than to falsely imprison or punish or kill with capital punishment one innocent person. So this country was founded on the complete opposite of what, in my opinion, this software is advocating for. They're saying like, well, yeah, this AI could mess up and stop many, many just total innocent people and infringe upon their right to keep and bear arms, but maybe we'll catch one someday. That's not the principles of what the United States of America is supposed to be. And so much so that courts struck this very system, this very scheme down when they tried to do it in several localities. The main one that got a bunch of news hype was when New York tried to do this and said, let me see your social media transcript. Do you guys remember that? The court struck this down. So even our judicial system, which in many cases doesn't get it right because we have many leftist communist activist judges in this country. They're trying to write law from the bench. But even with all of that, there's nothing perfect, I'm saying, including our legal system. But they knew this was wrong on its face and shot it down when the government tried to do the very thing that this company's trying to now do. Why does DoubleCheck believe in enhancing background checks for gun purchases? DoubleCheck believes that the majority of gun owners are law-abiding citizens. However, see, I'm a Second Amendment supporter, but we cannot ignore the data on mass shooters who exhibit disturbing behavior and have a history of criminal activity. Every mass shooting leads to public outcry for gun control and puts responsible gun owners in the position of defending their rights. DoubleCheck seeks to make a change and represent the interests of law-abiding citizens. Yeah, then why did you have to mention so many times earlier how there's never going to be any friction? There's never going to be any friction at the counter. When they say, excuse me, Mr. Law-Abiding Citizen, but the AI just said, eh. Does DoubleCheck replace the existing check system, NICS? No, DoubleCheck does not replace the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, NICS. Instead, we complement it by offering an enhanced evaluation of an applicant's background, including social media indicators and other relevant data that may have been missed by the standard NICS check. No, it's not missed by the NICS check. Like, the government strictly prohibited from looking at your social media data and using it on a NICS check. Like, how does DoubleCheck's enhanced background system work? DoubleCheck's system involves a more comprehensive evaluation of an applicant's background at the point of sale, whether it be at a gun store or another point of purchase. We collect data from multiple open sources that the current background checking system NICS may miss. This includes monitoring public social media indicators for declarations of malintent or self-harm. And again, people do get flagged for this stuff all the time, and a lot of times they were already on some kind of watch list or watch detail, and they still, to monitor everybody's social media because you might catch one. Look, guys, freedom isn't free. Liberty isn't free. That's not how this government was set up. And some people might not like that. But if you don't like it, there's other governments in other countries that people are more than free to move to if they'll take you, where your rights are granted to you by the government. And that's not what the founding fathers did when they set this country up. This is invading on a lot of people's privacy because you might catch somebody. Look, this has always been the same thing, and it always will be. This is a battle of good versus evil. You cannot legislate morality. You cannot use an app to change people's morality. Like, why can't people understand these basic things? And by the way, if I could wave a magic wand and never have anybody do one of these disgusting, terrible acts like this ever again, of course I would. But I'm not God, and I couldn't do that. Even if I wanted to. And for people to think they can by infringing upon everybody else, it's just not the way this country's supposed to be. As courts have declared when they've struck this down, when states have tried to do the exact same thing that this software is purporting. The process is facilitated through an app accessible on your phone. After confirming identity, the check is processed and the retailer receives an immediate rating of green, yellow, orange, or red as guidance for proceeding with the sale. The retailer does not receive personal information about why the rating was given, as all details are kept confidential. However, the gun purchaser can see what factors contributed to the results. Look, to even have a system like this in place and to make it work, what do you guys think about this? I can only imagine the government coming in and saying, well, we're going to make it a law now where gun shops have to use this. I'm not saying I see anything here like that. I'm not saying that's what they're saying right now, but there's a lot of government resume on these, what do they call him, a serial entrepreneur? I'm just saying. I don't know. Join us in protecting lives and rights. All right. You can sign up to learn more or become an early partner, or you can sign up for early customer access. Sign me up right now. Jeez, oh, Pete, I'm going to have to end this live stream early just so I can sign up for this. Can you believe it? Wow. Do you guys want me to hurry up and end the stream so I can sign up? I don't know. Like I said, everything I said tonight was just in my opinion, but I'm just bringing up stuff so you guys can have your own opinions. It did literally say, though, that guy was CEO of the military industrial whatever, though, right? Like, I think it literally did say that. All right. I'm going to take another quick peek at the chat here. Gort, member for 27 months. Thanks, man. I appreciate your support for so long, dude. He says, seems like yesterday. I've been streaming for a while on here. How much longer? I don't know. But thanks, man. Rudy Finney with another super chat. Thanks, Rudy. I appreciate you, man. He says, seems like Tim Kennedy milks bulls. Just saying. Ooh. I don't know, man. Does anyone think this software or this algorithm or AI, does anyone think this is a good thing? I mean, somebody might. That's fine. Like, I'm not going to tell you what you're allowed to think or not. Jeez, oh, Pete. Joshua Gogans with the $2 super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. I know you're also a recent Patreon supporter, right? Thanks, man. Shout out to all of you guys in the many ways you support the channel. Yeah, 90% of the USPS is spying on people's media. Yeah. It's all over the place, man. What's happening, Horsepower Greed? How you doing, man? He says, sometimes it seems as if people are just looking for something to be offended by, just to argue. Sure. I don't know. I don't know, man. Chanzig says, 2A has answered me a bunch. You don't need to pay. What's happening, Chanzig? How you doing, man? Ooh, speaking of people that have been around here a long time, Orion Fixer. What's happening, man? How you doing? Oh, man, I literally said hi to you because I thought we were friends, man. You've been watching for a long time, and then you left that? That sucks, dude. Just keep in mind, I was over there on another screen. Like, well, maybe if you've never done a live stream, it's the old saying, yeah. You don't really know till you walk a mile on another man's moccasins. But yeah, when I'm over here, like reading that website, when you guys see it shared there, you know I can't be on the same screen to read the chat at the same time, but that's all right. Still good to see you here, Orion, as one of the very early viewers of this channel. Hey, you can't make anybody happy all the time, though. So, with the pistol brace, right? Preliminary injunction. This was kind of cool. One of the guys came into my comments the other day, and I want to read this section. I mean, it's the Marine Corps' birthday. Veterans Day is like less than an hour away. Shout out to all the veterans, by the way, watching. I appreciate all your service. They talk about the 3 Marines that were plaintiffs. So it's Darren Brito et al. Et al. Means and others. And there's other ones, right? What's up, Harry Grimley? Nice to see you, man. Okay, so they're talking about a couple of plaintiffs here. And let me go through here because this is all written in a weird way. And the third plaintiff actually came into my comments in my video I did. Let me go back to this part. As discussed, Supra, plaintiffs are 3 decorated Marine veterans who possess what are likely to be SBRs under the rule. Plaintiff Darren A. Brito is one such veteran who owns a pistol with a stabilizing brace. His pistol, which has a barrel of less than 16 inches, was not designed, made, or intended to be fired from the shoulder because Mr. Brito has a combat-related injury to his right shoulder. Mr. Brito uses this firearm for personal defense, competitive sport shooting, recreation with his family, and part of his employment as a firearms instructor, certified by the NRA and the state of Texas. So shout out to him, man. Combat-related injury, injured combat vet, served his country, came home, and had his government slap him right in the teeth. That's gotta suck, man, doesn't it? Serve your country. Because, look, for every few of these other ones that seem to use their service to take away our guns, there's like a million veterans who are literally there considering it a service, saying, hey, someone's got to do this crap. And then you get shot and you come home and they're like, nope, not you. We want to criminalize you, even though he was hurt in combat. So shout out to him for being one of the movants, meaning one of the people that filed the motion, the plaintiff, you could call him. Speaking of people that have been around here a long time, man, what's happening, Matt Morrison? Nice to see you, dude. I've seen you in chats a lot of times when I watch on replay, but glad to catch you while I'm live, man. Nice. The next plaintiff, Sean M. Kroll, is another. He owns a pistol with a 10.5-inch barrel and a stabilizing brace, and he uses the brace for recreational target shooting, hunting, and personal defense. The firearm is not designed to be fired from the shoulder, so Mr. Kroll uses a stabilizing brace because it makes the firearm ... safer. So there's 2 Marines. The last one, and this is plaintiff Gabriel Tauscher, Tauscher. He simply referred to himself as Gabe. He said, hey, this is Gabe. I'm one of the plaintiffs. And he said, I'll consider this a early happy Marine Corps birthday present. So this guy is I like to keep it family friendly, but he's a BA. This guy's a tough dude, man. I look up to a guy like this. So check this out, because here's the thing. He got out of the service and he just sued. Think about this. He just sued the ATF. All 3 of these guys. The Marine Corps veterans, they sued the ATF and they literally just won. Now, can the Supreme Court overturn it? Sure. Could the 5th Circuit overturn it? Sure. But this is a W right now. I doubt the 5th Circuit's going to overturn it, but I guess they could. But this is still a W because they literally won. This is where they were suing, right here. So lastly, plaintiff Gabe, he refers to himself as, deployed overseas in support of the global war on terrorism. Listen to this. Tragically, Mr. Tauscher was ambushed in 2021 and shot 15 times. He spent 85 days in the hospital. Wow, man. I doubt he's watching this again. I'm sure a guy like him has more important stuff to do on a Friday night. But if you're watching this, dude, like, talk about being tough. This is a tough guy here. Think about this. Let me read this one more time. Was ambushed, shot 15 times, spent 85 days in the hospital, and during multiple surgeries and requiring 20 pints of blood. Because his left arm is partially disabled, Mr. Tauscher uses a stabilizing brace to help him fire. He uses his firearm for personal protection and recreation. 85 days in the hospital, 20 pints of blood. Dude, that's like double what your body even holds. So all of the blood in this man's body had to be changed out, if you will, supplemented twice. By God's grace, is this man even alive? I mean, I don't know him personally, but just this summary here, and this was written by the judge. Hats off to the judge to include this, because look, when it comes to constitutionally protected rights, and if Gabe's watching, I'm sure he would say this, and that's why he served. He didn't just serve for people that are Marines. He served for people like me. And I think a lot of you guys served for people just like me too. I have just as much of a right to have a brace pistol as he does, and all of you do. All of us have equal protection under the law and equal rights. So it's not that just because these guys were in the Marine Corps is why they have the right to a brace. It's not just because a couple of them got injured and severely injured that they have the right to have a brace. That's not why, but this is very important to know their story, because that's messed up. When you literally look that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. And for people that actually believe in that and go out and fight for it. And a lot of us fight in many ways, but in Gabe's case, he fought for it and was shot 15 times, 85 days in the hospital. And for him to come home and say, you can't defend yourself anymore, after fighting for a document to preserve a document that says shall not be infringed, right? And just to treat the Constitution, which is supposed to be the supreme law of the land, like it's kindling, because that's what the ATF's doing. I'm glad the judge smacked him right in the teeth. There's a lot of people smacking a lot of people in the teeth right now, and I like it. I like it a lot, man. And I don't know if this was a coincidence. Of course it's a coincidence. I don't think the judge would wait to make his decision, but this decision comes out like 2 days before the Marine Corps birthday, and these guys are all Marines. Sir, we appreciate your service. 85 days in the hospital. I keep on reading this to make sure I'm right here. 20 pints of blood. That's like double the amount of blood you even have in your body, right? I believe so. I'm not a doctor. Tell me if I'm wrong. Thank you for your service. Now you just have to sit there and be prey to anyone who wants to prey on you. Oh, we don't care if you can't use your arm properly enough to hold a firearm in a certain way. What do you guys think about that? Well, this is why we celebrate Veterans Day. We celebrate Veterans Day for all veterans, but these three young men are prime examples of why we celebrate Veterans Day. And man, I like it that they served. I like it that they were tough enough and by the grace of God survived brutal, nasty injuries. And man, I still like these guys today. Suing the ATF and winning? Are you kidding me right now? These are some cool dudes. Heck yeah, man. I know they're not, but if any of you guys are watching, like seriously, like hats off, man. Sued the ATF and won. And this judge here, wow. Judge Matthew Kaczmarek. I can't pronounce his last name. It doesn't matter. Judge Matthew here. This dude's pretty, he gets it. So after they're going through all that, he says, likewise, the court is certainly sympathetic to ATF's concerns over public safety. I'm going to pause there. I'm going to tie this in with that software. Dude, of course I don't want any more mass shootings. Of course I don't want these type of people even like among us at all, let alone being able to carry out a horrific act. Of course. Right? And just like, of course, just like this court, I'm sympathetic to public safety. And I'm sympathetic to the wake of tragic mass shootings. Yes. Of course, we're all sympathetic to that. But you don't take away pistol braces from law-abiding people, because, again, these laws only affect the law-abiding, right? Duh, obviously. Someone's hell-bent to shoot up a school. You think they care about the other 10-year felony for not having a tax stamp? I don't think so. Just like you think some person that's hell-bent to shoot up a school, because that's terrible. Again, guys, I promise you, if I could stop it, I would stop it. So would all of you. I just try to do my part to make the world a better place. I'm trying my hardest to raise my daughter knowing right from wrong, and I'm just smart enough to realize my sphere of influence ain't that big. But to have an amber light or a red light come up on the app on your phone. So this whole like software thing reminds me a lot of what the judge says right here in the end. Likewise, the court is certainly sympathetic to ATF's concerns over public safety in the wake of tragic mass shootings. The rule, quote, embodies statutory policy goals meant to protect vulnerable people in our society. Sure. But then he goes on, and this is the punchline, and this is my punchline for this software company, and Tim Kennedy and all of them, right here. But public safety concerns must be addressed in ways that are lawful. This rule is not. Very short, very sweet. He goes through, writes a very articulate opinion, talks about the Constitution, talks about recent court precedent in the Fifth Circuit, in the Supreme Court. Really just shoves it right in the eye of all these people, saying, look at these three Marines, the three plaintiffs. The service they gave to their country, and then they come back, and you're going to try to make them felons overnight? Ooh. But public safety concerns must be addressed in ways that are lawful. This rule is not. I should have maybe read that last line before I get into all that software thing, because, look, assuming these guys that are starting this software genuinely have the concerns that they purport that they do, and I'm not mind readers, let's assume they do have those concerns, and just happen to have a resume where they worked for the military industrial group and chiefs of staff. I mean, it could be coincidence. Let's just say their whole motive is solely based on just like how much they care about this stuff. Yeah, I care about it too, but public safety concerns must be addressed in ways that are lawful. This rule is not. This software, this technology was already deemed unlawful when states tried to do it. We've already been through this, and now a company wants to do it. That just so happens to be where all of their spokespeople either currently are or have been very high up in the federal government and stuff. And Eisenhower called out the military-industrial complex. He had quite the security detail. And he had a whole Marine, is it a regiment or battalion that sits by Washington, D.C. that's extremely quickly mobilized. I know it's a large number. I don't have any of that, so. Take a quick look at the chat here, and then I'm going to go over some Michigan stuff real quick and actually show you guys a teaser on a couple boxes of ammo. Okay. Tovis, when are SBRs and suppressors going to be challenged and moved to the NFA? SBRs kind of are right now, believe it or not, with all of this. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals actually started weighing in on the concept of it. Look, I don't like any of it. The fact that we even have one of these gun control laws for one day drives me nuts in a certain sense, but I'm trying to stay focused on, let's just look at the reality. We're talking about shall not be infringed was ratified about 230 something years ago now. Right. So for 2 1/3 centuries, things have slowly whittled away. I like wins like this. I like seeing, because look, we're in a culture war right now. I like seeing that more and more people get it. We have to win things in the court of public opinion first, because politics is downstream from culture. That's what Breitbart said, but he's not alive anymore, and I like to keep reminding people of that awesome quote that he gave us. And I truly believe that politics is downstream from culture. Yeah. When you let stuff start creeping in, I mean, let's go to the National Firearms Act. That's 90 years old. When something's been ingrained and entrenched and perpetuated, where there's now tens of thousands, we're up to nearly 30,000 federal regulations, rules, and laws that violate the Second Amendment. Just the state of Michigan alone has thousands in and of itself. It's going to take some time of moving the right direction to undo, to reverse. Fortunately and unfortunately. What I'm saying is a bit of both. Yeah, Sean Zimmerman. Thanks for mentioning the obvious. Obviously, he bled over the course of 80 days that he needed transfusion before and after surgery. Obviously, yes. You didn't literally think that I thought he bled out 20 pints when the body only has 11, right? Come on, man. Have a little more faith in me than that. Just a little bit. Ben Sherman, God bless all my 2A supporters in the chat. God bless you too, man. I don't know if you were just ripping me, Sean, or somebody else. I just was messing around with you. Is there other people doing videos about this too right now? I saw the Guns and Gadgets video about it, and I looked into it a little bit further. Right now, my hats are not available. They used to be available, but I need to find a new source for them. So, QD got the last one. No, I'm not joking. Besides the one that I've worn. Why can't we just all get along? Are people being spicy tonight in the chat, QD? Are people being spicy tonight? Jeez, oh, Pete. Hopefully you guys can agree to disagree in the chat and just have a good time. All right, let's see what we got going on over here. Boy, I probably got a lot of people mad at me tonight for calling out Tim Kennedy, didn't I? Sorry, guys. Here's the deal. I'll make this deal with you guys, and I promise I'm being serious. If you guys are still huge Tim Kennedy fans like me, and you can still be friends from my end. You know what I mean? That's all I can really tell you. St. Vicari with a super chat. 545. Man, I'm waiting to get another update from PSA on that steel case ammo. He says, did kind of like Tim Kennedy. All right, man. If you still do, that's cool, man. And we can still be friends. A lot of what I said tonight was in my opinion, but you guys can just go over to his company and look at it. I mean, let's see. The website's called Double Check Protect. Double Check Protect. That's what it's called. So go look at it. I tried to share all the whole site, though, man. It is what it is, I guess. He said, didn't know about this. The truth sometimes hurts. Thanks for bringing this up. Well, you're welcome, man. And if you still want to kind of like him and maybe I had a bad take, I'm far from perfect. I just sharing with you guys my honest opinions, and that's what they are, but my opinions. And, well, that one guy literally had... What was it again? No, I don't want to misquote anything on here. Did it say he worked for the military industrial? Hold on a minute. This is the general here. Let me go look at this again. This is important stuff. He worked for the Dutch East India Trading Company, it said. 1765 to 1775. Okay. Cool. He worked for he was president and CEO of the National Defense Industrial Association and was also a member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Okay. So, yeah, I'm sure it's a coincidence. I mean, yeah, industrial this, industrial that, right? QD with a generous super chat. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it, dude. He says, the Joe Rogan episode, literally just before Tim Kennedy was with Elon Musk, warning us that the people writing the AI are also left-leaning, that even normalcy is far right. Just saying. Hold on a minute. What's this? He said, literally, just before. Okay. So Tim Kennedy was with Elon Musk warning us that the people writing the AI are all left-leaning. And I've heard a lot of warnings about that too. Warning us that it's left-leaning. Ooh. That even normalcy's far right. But now he's a brand ambassador for an AI that is not going to be, well, as of right now, they're not trying to make it a law. That's already been ruled unconstitutional when states tried to make it a law. But to where it would become gun store policy, that if the gun shop owner sees the red, the yellow, orange, scary stuff. Richard Denny with a super sticker. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. I wish it would let us display the actual sticker, but I use a software here called StreamYard, which does cost the channel money. So I appreciate you guys supporting because it goes back into the channel very quickly. But one downside to it is I really wish it would let me actually throw that sticker itself up there. But thanks for supporting the channel, man. I appreciate it. I'm over here on the pop-out chat, like on the YouTube side of things, trying to see what that sticker was, and boy, oh boy, does it pop up. Okay, it's the thumbs up emoji one. I've had a lot of chat. Tonight. Wow. I can't believe I've been able to answer as many chats as I have tonight. Do you guys agree? I think I read way more comments than dude, I've been on people's streams where they have 7 people watching and they can't even they won't even necessarily read your chat. I mean, I got a lot of people in here at a time, and I still read as many chats as I possibly can. Good night, Anne-Marie. Dang old Matt, you do not get a discount with double check, but if you guys want a good discount for a company that didn't throw Kyle Rittenhouse under the bus, go down there in the description, Blackout Coffee, use code 28EDU and save 20%. So I can get you guys hooked up with that discount. That's a pretty good discount. I'm going to have my daughter sample their hot chocolate because I did order a whole order from them with my own money. So, and I'm going to get her soon to do a little sampling of their hot cocoa, their tea, and I got a couple of those Don't Tread on Me mugs. Yeah, the Blackout sells. Those are cool. QD says, 28EDU, you're famous in Europe. We were just talking about that the other day, David Hasselhoff. And it came up like it always does. They said, he's still famous in Europe, right? Oh, man. State legislators. Which ones do you want me to do videos with? Do you want me to do one with... Let me guys ask you a quick question. Let's take a quick poll. No, I'm being serious. How many of you guys saw my last middle of the night live streams? All right. Let me think of what you guys can put in the chat. Okay. Lori starts with an L. Jamie starts with a J. So make a vote here. Do you want my next guest to be Lori Pohutsky? She's the one with the gavel. Put an L in the chat. Or J for Jamie Thompson. Who would you rather me have on the show next? Let's see who you guys want. Who do you want to be the next guest? Lori Pohutsky, She's the one with the gavel. Do you want Lori Pohutsky on the show? Put an L in the chat. My favorite state representative, Jamie Thompson. Put a J in the chat. Which one? Let's see here. I'm doing free polling numbers. I'm going to call Jamie tomorrow and say, I just got a free poll for you here. Don't pay the consultants. We just got you free polling. All right. Hold on a minute. Yeah, the one with the gavel. The clerk will open the board. Immediate effect. That one. I'm so ticked off. I'm like, Representative St. Germain offers the amendment. Is there support? You hear like 10 Republicans go, support. They're yelling, support. Hearing no support. The amendment is not adopted. I'm like, so L for Lori Pohutsky. That's the one. Literally, though, you can't make this up. Those of you that were in that live stream, okay? They said, at this stage, the amendment requires support. Do we have support? You can just hear like a crowd of people yelling yes. Hearing no support, the amendment was not adopted. I'm like, oh, that's great. You just gavelled down the 90,000 people that Representative St. Germain represents. They sure feel like they have the democracy that the Democrats always brag about, don't they? All right, let's look at the chat here. Who's winning? What's up, Pillbox Bunker? How you doing, man? Who won here? All right. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Harry voted 4 times. All right. So there you go. We got 12 for Jamie Thompson, Representative Jamie Thompson, and 1. Ooh, there's always got to be one. Said Lori Pohutsky. So there you go. Free poll. I'm a pollster, if you guys didn't know. Oh, you've been watching this channel a lot, man. Me and you are on lockstep. I said the so-called democracy that they say, right? They say we have a democracy, right? Is there support for the amendment? Please, someone vouch for me. Someone out there's like, dude, he's making this up. No, you can't even make this up. Is there support for the amendment? Support, support. You just hear it in the background on the mic. Hearing no support? There must be something in the water today. Some people are being a little bit spicy tonight. I know I'm not making any of this up. That's the thing. Somebody just said, I think he made it up. No. Are all of you guys new here and stuff? No, you guys don't get time to watch the late night ones. I don't blame you. No, of course we're not a democracy. Democracy is 2 wolves and 1 sheep voting on what's for dinner. That turns out pretty well, right? And then a republic is that well-armed lamb contesting that vote. Randy Smith says, probably wouldn't get a word in with that gavel lady. I don't know. Maybe we can get her to come on. Unless, of course, I just misgendered. I have no idea what she identified as. Maybe we could have Z on. Patrick Fellers with another super chat. Thanks, Patrick. I appreciate it, man. He says, got to work tomorrow. Good night, 2A fam. Stay safe. Will you stay safe and be safe at work and have fun, man? All right. So I am going to. So Michigan passed in the middle of the night. Well, early morning. I guess it'd be yesterday morning and stuff, November 9th. 41-27, 41-28. I'm going to tell you guys this. They passed a substitute for the House bill. Now, there wasn't just one substitute, there was two substitutes. And I'm saying this in earnest. I have no idea how many reps even knew what version they were voting on at the time or what the verbiage was, because there's all these substitutes. But it appears final passage was substitute H4. They changed it a little bit to make it where on the surface it's going to seem less worse with this amendment. But I'm going to do another standalone video explaining, because I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse here. But I will say this much. They cleaned up some of the days before the election. It was like the third Saturday and the seventh Sunday of the month. And yeah, I know there's not 7 Sundays in a month, but that's how confusing it was, right? And kind of cleaned that up a little bit. And then they basically saying, well, we'll exempt CPL holders, and changed it where you're exempt if it's in the person's residence or on the person's property. So they did a few concessions, but that's not actually a good thing. Because before, the way the bill was written, it was just so on its face unconstitutional that I think there was a high probability of it getting struck down. Even though nobody's fighting any of this Michigan stuff as it is, and none of the big channels want to talk about Michigan, and nobody even, it's like Michigan's just like this island, like floating off on its own. And shout out to everybody in Washington, and shout out to everybody in Illinois and New York. You guys are fighting the fight and dealing with even more than we are. Like, I get all that. But I've heard about everything from all these other states for years now. And I've had all of your back for years now, too. I've actually spent a lot of time praying for you guys in those other states. Like, I seriously care about all of you. No one will mention Michigan anywhere. Even people with hundreds of thousands of subscribers that are Michigan channels won't even report on this. So it is what it is, but no one wants to talk about this Michigan stuff. But even then, even though there probably wouldn't even be anybody willing to sue over this, I wish the Republican legislatures would grow a pair, like as a body, and start suing over some of this crap. They did it over the Kung Flu. They did it over many other things. They'll tell you, oh, we can't sue over it. Well, they have in the past, and I've seen it happen. Maybe this is different for some reason. I don't know. But they made it a little less worse, which probably actually makes this a lot more worse, because there's a higher likelihood now this is going to pass constitutional muster. Stay tuned for a standalone video that I'm reserving right now, because here's the deal. This passed the House, and I thought it was going to be rubber stamped in the middle of the night, just like the other bills have been by the Senate. The Senate has not passed this yet. So the House is looking to go out of session very soon. Okay. I told you guys many months ago, there's going to be a surprise, and this is it. Surprise. House is going to end session very soon, because 2 mayors won their mayoral races, and they will not share the gavel. They're not going to do any of that crap. So they're going to adjourn the sine die early. And when they do that, it makes all of the other gun control packages that passed earlier in the year go into effect that much sooner. And other tyrannical laws that they've passed that's been signed by the governor go into effect that much sooner. For whatever reason, this one hasn't been passed by the Senate yet. But I don't know if the Senate's going to go sine die as early as the House is. So I need to wait before I completely report on it. The House passing it in the middle of the night, big deal. Very shady, by the way, in my opinion, to be doing stuff like this so late. But this is the version passed by the House, substitute H4. All right. For me to do a video on this, I'm trying to wait and see what the Senate passes, because I guess if the Senate passes it word for word, it still has to get sent back to the House and be enrolled. I think, and I might be wrong on this. Look, I'm not a legal scholar, and maybe if there's a state rep or somebody watching right now in the comments, tell me if you know. But I don't even know if half the reps know what the House rules are anymore. It's so like weird and aloof the way. But anyways, so even if the bill gets passed word for word, identically in the Senate, it still has to be enrolled in the House. But maybe just the clerk can enroll a bill even after the House goes sine die. Can they do that? See, here's the thing. I know this for a fact. Pohutsky, who's the acting speaker, she can gavel them out of session for the day, and then the clerk can say the House will come to order for first reading of bills. And all of the first reading of bills are just done by the clerk, okay? The clerk's supposed to be a nonpartisan office, right? So the clerk can do first readings. They can gavel back into session. While the clerk's holding the gavel, they can announce, they can recognize members to speak for special announcements, right? Like we want to announce that we have the such and such church youth group up in the gallery. Please rise. Welcome to the House of Representatives. The clerk can do that kind of stuff. But I don't, and then the clerk can end session again after they've done their first readings of bills. In fact, there's days that the representatives won't even come into session at all, but the clerk will still gavel in a session, read first readings of bills. So here's my question that I need to get answered here. What if the House goes sine die? And then the Senate passes this identically? Can the House come adjourned after it was sine die, meaning it's ended for the whole year, not to come back again until the beginning of next year? You guys follow me? I know this is nerdy and I'm probably boring everybody, but we need to keep track of all this stuff. Can the clerk come in and gavel in a session just enough to enroll the bill? Because the House would have to be only if it's identical. And when they say identical, it has to be literally identical. They can't even change the spelling on anything. If not, it would have to go to like a conference. But if the Senate passes an identical version of these bills and then goes sine die, is there any way for the House to enroll the bill? If anyone knows, let me know. I will read the comment section afterwards. This is very nuanced, granular issue here. But that's where we're at right now. And that's why I haven't done a follow-up video because, well, I've probably bored all of you half to death just explaining what the circumstances could be. And I doubt there's any state reps watching this late because they've been up so late at night, they're probably catching up on their sleep right now. Although some of them do watch this channel. All right. Well, I'm going to log out in just a couple minutes here, but I want to show you guys a couple boxes of ammo real quick, if that's all right. What's up, Carbon Spider? Nice to see you, man. Yeah, a lot of fishing in Michigan, that's for sure. Well, there's a lot of good people in Michigan, so do what you got to do, man. But, you know, you're boycotting the government a little bit, but you're also boycotting good people out there, the people that own the bait shop and maybe the people that own the gas stations and the restaurants and all of that. So I'm not going to recommend doing that. So the whole ammo shortage situation, look, guys, it's basically the same as what it was. It's been available the whole time, but, well, not continuously, but a lot of online places, it sell out in a few minutes. It's not selling out as quickly as it was over the last few weeks, but I did want to just touch on it a teeny bit. Prices are still up, though, okay? If you go back and look through my locals, that's where you can see the long line of where prices have been at. It's right up there when it comes to especially 5.56 and 7.62 by 39, most pointedly. But even many other calibers, they've still not gotten down. I haven't seen them lowering back down from, 4 or 5 weeks ago now. So you can say it's caused by just a rumor, like you're dismissing it summarily, but no, dude, that is what causes this stuff. And if you guys want to trust the government and say that Lake City thing was just a rumor, go for it. But yeah, people are buying stuff and the prices are up like right now. They literally are. I talked about this last week a little bit, but a lot of people have said, well, look, Lake City made this statement. So that proves this. Only if you trust the government. That is the government that's saying that. I mean, they've gotten caught trying to mess with civilian ammo several times. Not once, not twice, but several times. Just in the last few years. So, what's happening, Mike McClune? Nice to see you in the chat tonight, man. QD just came in and gifted 10 more channel memberships. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. All right, so this here, I'm just going to show it to you as just a little teaser. If you want to know more about this, I'm going to have some information up later this weekend on locals, because that's where you have to do this. Can't promote the sale of or any of that type of stuff here on YouTube, but this is RPM ammunition. Rockvale Precision Munitions. Shout out to Middle Tennessee. Rockvale, Tennessee. Anyone ever heard of the place? And he sent me a few boxes of ammo here to check out. Now, some of you guys that were at the 2A EDU hangout shot some of his 223 and liked it. We did not have any issues with it. A few of you guys did. And I still have. We shot some during the hangout, and then I kept some more for some further review. So I still have some of this RPM 223. This is a precision reman product. I'm going to do some actual reviews on this ammo, so you guys will know more particulars about it soon and watch me shooting it and all that cool stuff, right? But this is just a little teaser. I thought maybe you guys might want to see a little bit of ammo tonight. Whatever you guys didn't shoot at the hangout, I will review for everybody else so you guys can learn a little bit more about it. What have we here? He sent me a few things to sample. Ooh, check this out. Here's some 10 millimeter, 180 grain JHP. I'm going to leave you guys more info about this over on locals, probably tomorrow, actually. Here's some 10 millimeter. .180 grain. Hollow point. Looks like a Hornady bullet to me. Let's see if we can get it to focus in. He puts this Bible verse on. There you guys go. He puts this Bible verse on all of his boxes. Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for battle, my fingers for war. Psalm 144:1. So that's pretty cool. Oh, real quick before I forget, in case there's some new people here tonight. I don't know how much longer this stuff's going to be in stock, but this is the ReadyWise long-term storage food. Dude, this is like $170 on their site. Right now, I know where it's at on clearance for $50. $6 shipping, or if you spend $150 or more, free shipping. But you're not going to see the link here on YouTube. So there's two ways to see this. The best way is to go over to my locals. It's currently a pinned post on locals right there at the very top. You guys should be able to find that. And if you just refuse to go to locals and like to be a little more censored, I get it. That's totally cool. Go over to my Facebook, and you'll see right near the top of the 2A EDU Facebook page how to get this. But $50. That's like a steal. Especially if you bought 3 or other stuff on the site to get that order up to $150. Free shipping. And in the times we're living in right now, probably not a bad idea. And you're literally buying it so cheap that if you just wanted to have it, and then if like crap doesn't hit the fan, just take it over to, like, take it camping, or just like sit there and eat it out back, like in your backyard. Like, you're literally buying food for cheaper than you're going to buy it at the grocery store with the price of food. No, it's not a bucket of eggs. We talked about this a few times, but there's always new people here. Real quick, I'll hold it up one more time. This is a 60 serving entree bucket, and it includes pasta Alfredo, potatoes and chicken, pot pie, Southwest rice and beans, savory stroganoff, tomato basil soup with pasta, and teriyaki rice. 25-year storage life. Mine was packed on 4/30 of 22, which means it still has about 23 and a half years of shelf-stable storage life. Directions: remove oxygen absorber prior to preparation. Bring 4 cups water to boil. Add contents of package to the boiling water and stir. Turn off heat. Cover and let stand 12 to 15 minutes, stirring occasionally. Uncover and let cool for 2 to 3 minutes. So you're just going to add it to boiling water. Yeah, I'm going to eat some of this pretty soon. As soon as I can get 2 more buckets to stash away for my family, then I won't feel as guilty about opening that up. If it was a bucket of eggs, with how much eggs cost in a lot of places, ooh. Yeah, a lot of us are storing buckets of rice and beans, and that's awesome, guys. I am not trying to do that, but literally though, if you look at how much this reconstitutes, and there's some weight to this, and this is totally dried, okay? This is in its dried consistency. By the time you add the water to this, it's going to weigh a lot more. Like, this has already got some weight to it. It would be hard almost to get this much weight in. Maybe not literally if it was just white rice and like pinto beans, but if you bought any of the rices that are more nutritional, like long grain rices and stuff like that, yeah, you might spend more in rice and beans to fill this up than what's in here. I'm just saying. And it's not just simply rice and beans. It's actually different entrees that hopefully would taste better. Enda, what's happening, Enda? Nice to see you in the chat, man. So many of you guys, I read all your chats after the fact. And it's good to catch some of you guys in real time, you know? All right, what else have I got here? We're just looking at ammo for just a minute here. For those of you that are the diehards that have been hanging out this whole night, lighten it up just a little bit. No problem, JR. Nice to see you, man. I can't believe it. I must have misread it out of context. I'm going to have to go back and read earlier. But there was people on here tonight, I think, maybe saying I wasn't quite so nice. And I don't know. It seems like I'm about as nice as anybody could be. Yeah, they probably never had a stream where they were sharing their screen and had a couple hundred people having great conversations and couldn't read 2 screens at once. Maybe they can. What have I got here, guys? Anyone know what this might be? Let's see if I have the other one to hold up in comparison. Well, there's 2 obvious guesses. If I hold up the other round in comparison, it'll give it away. I'll tell you guys this much. The projectile is 130 grains, and it is an FMJ. You guys are on a little bit of a delay, I assume. Now that cross country is essentially over, Linda will be able to start joining in the chats here really soon again. And I'll be able to start giving away more stickers and stuff easier. Someone just said they like 10 millimeter. Michigan Prepper, at least you guessed. I appreciate it. And I didn't show the other one in there for a comparison, but this is 357 Magnum that I just showed you. And it can be a little tricky if you don't have them next to each other, right? Gort came in second and said, only caught a glance, 357 Magnum. Yeah, I flashed it real quick just to see if there was anybody actually, watching tonight. Because I know a lot of you guys just listen in the background while I'm live, and I do that too. I totally get it. Oh, this was fun at the Hangout. It was awesome seeing all of you guys last week at the 2A EDU Hangout. Thank you so much for QD for hooking us up big time with a bunch of ammo. You guys are going to see that through the PSA GF3. And then Rockford Ordnance came in with even more ammo. So you guys are going to get to see a Will It Survive and an encore of Will It Survive even more. That's if it survived at all. You guys will be seeing that soon. Some other good content. What's up, Scott Williams? Nice to see you, man. He said, I just bought 3 of those, one for each member of the family. That's a well thought out gift, man. Hey, especially, God forbid, anyone were to be going hungry, you know? Nice to see you, dude. And I did read your comment on YouTube the other day. And, dude, you go way back with the channel. Of course I remember you, man. Didn't see you for a year or so or whatever. But, yeah, man. Scott Williams is one of the original guys hanging out around here. Reman product. Yeah, can anyone that's into ammo maybe explain a little bit to Harry? I'm not an ammo guy, but here's my real short version. Yes, but not exactly. Like, there's the whole thing of like somebody's reloads versus an actual reman facility, right? So if anyone else wants to chime in on that, this will be a lovely discussion in the chat, trust me. But my answer is yes, but not simply yes. Okay. But check these out. These are the crimped blanks. I can't show it here because we're on YouTube, but if you guys want to know like a super, super fun thing to do with these crimped blanks, check out my local stream tomorrow night. I'm going to make a note right now to make sure I don't forget. And I will show you guys. And it's like a crazy deal too. Like a crazy deal that I've shared on locals before. But some of the guys that were at the Hangout knows exactly what this is before. And it's like, this is a lot of fun. I'll just call him Strike Eagle. I'll use his local's name because I don't think that he has a YouTube ID. But he donated a whole bunch of golf balls to us as well. So we've got golf balls and we've got pop cans and all that. You guys will see what I'm talking about. And a whole bunch of crimped blanks. Wild Bill Ohio says, longtime viewer, first time commenter. Oh man, that avatar, you know how hungry I am right now, dude? You literally had to show me this. I'm getting off in just a minute. But thanks for making me like super hungry. He says, Reman is basically large volume reloading by a company. Longtime reloader here. Yeah. And this is Rockvale Precision Munitions. So what he takes pride in is precision loaded ammo with like match grade accuracy and quality. And those of you guys that reload know it can go one way or it can go the other. A lot of people will hand load their own ammo, or a lot of times reloading, meaning it's a once fired or previously fired case. And a lot of you guys will work up your hand load or your reload, because it's not always a reload. Sometimes it's a hand load, right? If you're starting with all fresh components, and you'll make it where your reloads are more accurate than the ammo you previously shot. Richard Denny says, I received my bucket today. Yeah, I've been promoting this deal for the last few weeks because trust me, if you guys use my link, it does help the channel a little bit, but it helps you guys a lot more than it helps me. And win-wins are always awesome, right? It helps out the channel a little bit. Trust me, when I say it helps you a lot more than me, like it helps you save 100 times more than it helps me. But, and I don't say in full disclosure, I brag about it. You guys are my sponsors, and ReadyWise didn't pay me a penny to talk about this. But if my viewers use my links, locals, and Facebook both on this particular item, helps the channel a little bit. Helps you a lot. Makes all of us happy. All right, here's a couple more things here. Yeah, Rockville right here. Rockville Precision Munitions. They're out of Middle Tennessee in a little place called Rockville. Here's some 124 grain, 9mm FMJ. I'm just testing some of this stuff out to see what I think about it, and I'm going to do it on film so you guys will be able to see as well. I think you guys will kind of like how he does this stuff too, how he does things. My kind of guy, that's for sure. All right, well, I have a couple more. We'll show those the next stream. I think I'm going to wind it down here because I've been on for well over 2 hours. Pillbox Bunker says, my neighbor is great. Awesome, man. I'm glad he didn't get mad or anything. We did shoot quite a few rounds, didn't we? Thank you for being the host, dude. Pillbox Bunker, you've been excellent to let us hang out at your house the last 3 years. Unless there's something I don't know about, we haven't had any problems at all. And thank you so much. I appreciate you and your family having us out there, and really good time. I hope you guys all had good conversations, got to enjoy some shooting. I see JJ Rainey, who we were hanging out with last weekend, and quite a few more guys earlier on here. So that was awesome. No, thank you, Pillbox. I really, really appreciate it, man. And I posted some pictures. Make sure you go look over on the community post. Mr. Pillbox Bunker and State Representative Thompson and Representative Bazat. We took some good pictures there. I wish I could have gotten a lot more pictures, but I posted what I could, and I've been sharing those throughout the different places with all of you. All right, guys. Well, I have some more videos that are coming out here in the next week from the Hangout. I'm going to show you guys how to open a spam can of ammo. Does that sound like fun? Huh? Maybe with a can opener, maybe without. You guys are going to see that PSAG F3. Look, guys, I'm going to talk about more gun content tomorrow. Most of my gun content's on locals. Like, ask the guys that are regulars over there. I literally can touch guns when I'm live. And these spontaneous conversations, like someone just said, have you tried any of PSA's new rifles? Boy, have I ever. And if we were literally on locals right now, which we will be tomorrow night, I could literally like just pick one up and show it to you, and we can talk all about it. But can't do it here tonight, man. Thank you for your show. Good men are hard to find. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for using the links, Sean. Not a problem. And don't enter for any of the generous giveaways I try to enter. Please don't do that if you don't want to. I'm totally fine with that, man. I'm sure there's no way Google has anybody's information that's on YouTube watching right now, but no, it's all good, man. Please don't apologize to me. In fact, somebody else will thank you because somebody else will win. I don't care. But thank you for using my links. QD says, love you all, gotta run. Thumbs up. Well, good night, man, if you haven't already left yet. Dale says that 9mm looks nice. You guys know I can't talk about it any further here, but locals tomorrow night, I'll tell you guys the down low on this, and I think some of you guys are going to like how he does stuff. Pretty easy to get along with type of dude. James Hudson, you're welcome, man. Thank you. Thanks for being here tonight, man. Nice to see you again. Oh, dude, I've got a can opener. No, it's not for, it's not like $3, but hey, I'm in the trade, so I already had it anyways. It didn't cost me even one more penny, but I used like I don't know, probably a $250 can opener-ish. But you guys will see how I did it. And hopefully have some fun. Good night, Bill Alexander. Happy Marine Corps birthday and Veterans Day to you, man. I know you're a Marine. No problem, Scott Williams. Mark Pellegrino. Take it easy, man. Bullet Junkie reminding everybody to hit the like button. But not following the etiquette, so they're probably, that comment's probably gone. Oops, why is it? Okay, I'm trying to click on something and it's right clicking and I'm hitting the left. Good night, Carbon Spider. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching and have a good one. And yes, Gort, I will see you and hopefully as many people as possible tomorrow night on Locals. Good night, R. Vieira.